Bonjour à vous tous. C'est avec plaisir que j'aimerais vous présenter Glen Hartle, ancien des collèges militaires, année d'entrée 1987, au Collège militaire royal de Saint-Jean, affectueusement appelé le CMR.
Bonjour.
Bonjour Glen. Merci d'avoir accepté de participer à notre projet.
Bienvenue, merci à vous.
Et puis, je vais juste donner une courte biographie. Alors, diplômé en 1992 avec un baccalauréat en sciences, sciences informatiques de système, et vous étiez officier de génie aéronautique, which we refer to as an area officer. Je me trompe pas, tout est beau pour l'instant?
Oui, ça.
Alors, nous commençons nos premières questions. Où est rendu en 2024 Glen, 37 ans plus tard?
35 ans déjà? Vraiment? 37 ans? Non, ça se peut pas.
Ah oui, oui.
Wow, je me sens vieux. Je suis rendu en 2024, je suis rendu sur une ferme, une petite ferme de 70 acres, à l'ouest de la parc de la Gatineau, disons à peu près 1 heure d'auto de la ville. Sur mon petit ferme, c'est divisé en tiers. Un tiers, c'est un lac. Je l'appelle mon lac. Un tiers, c'est une forêt plein des arbres différents. Et le troisième tiers, c'est les champs sauvages de quelques gazons. Excusez pour le bruit, j'ai les petits chiottes qui font beaucoup de bruit.
Oui, effectivement, Glen a une portée de chiots qu'il a, lui, avec mère et père. Aujourd'hui, il décide de faire un peu de communication avec vous. Aucun problème, Glen. We love animals. The puppy dogs are adorable. So yes, we will definitely let them join in as they seem happy to do so.
Wonderful.
La deuxième question. À quels endroits as-tu exercé ta profession d'officier dans l'aviation?
Vraiment, nulle part.
Nulle part, OK. Pourquoi?
Vraiment nulle part. Mais j'ai gradué du collège en 92. J'ai fait 1 an d'école aéronautique pour 1 an à Borden, au nord de Toronto. Comme ça, j'ai reçu ma première posting à Ottawa en 2093 comme officier d'info sur la base aérienne Rockcliffe, qui est plus là.
C'est correct, c'est correct.
Elle veut te faire partie de ça aussi. Alors, j'étais là juste quelques mois avant que j'étais encore posté une fois au quartier général pour que je puisse aider les gérants de carrière avec une base de données vraiment juste avant l'Internet. Alors, il n'y avait pas d'Internet, il n'y avait pas le concept des ordinateurs attachés un à l'autre. Ils voulaient un système d'ordinateurs qui pouvait prendre dans le champ, sur toutes les bases au Canada, pour faire les évaluations avec les membres, ramener les données au quartier pour mettre ça tous ensemble. Alors, j'ai pas utilisé le knowledge du aérien, pas du tout.
Okay. So basically, it was your degree that brought you into your jobs itself. You did mostly the systems management aspect of your degree. Am I correct?
Systems management, computer programming probably is more appropriate. Yeah, I didn't receive any single postings as an aeronautical engineer.
Okay, so contrary to some of us might think, is that we often think the military aspect of our commission will take first place, but in your case, it would appear that your degree was put to good use right from the get-go.
It was, and there's 2 reasons for that. One, primarily, is that when we, in my entire class of aeronautical engineers that graduated in 93 from CIFSATE, we came in just as the Liberal government changed hands and became the Liberal government of Chrétien.
Okay.
And he came in with a whole bunch of FRP, a whole bunch of force production issues. And one of them was all of the airplanes, all the helicopters, all the things that we were supposed to be doing for jobs kind of suddenly went up in the air. And so it made sense from that perspective that they would try to find something useful for me to do other than airplanes, because there were no airplanes. And having a computer science degree right at the beginning of the internet kind of made a lot of sense.
Oh, great. That's very encouraging to see, because it sounds funny to say we don't think of ourselves as being that old, but to think that you were at the debut of, in 1992, of the whole world of computers, that we were modernizing ourselves within the Canadian Armed Forces. So kudos to you for being part of the pioneer projects of where we are today.
Oh, thank you. You know, a lot of luck involved. You know, when I was at CMR, you know the way CMR worked, right? You spend the first 2 years basically doing your CEGEP equivalent. And then after you finish your 2 years, you then specialize in a program that you really want, and you then do 3 years of university and you get your degree. After 2 years of CEGEP, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of just floating around CMR, kind of enjoying being an officer cadet and kind of enjoying all that military life had to offer. And my friend at the time, Eric Hart, he was going into computers, and I said, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll try that. And that's really how I went into computers.
Great. Well, you're a lot more keen on that than I was, because les ordinateurs et moi faisions pas bon ménage. Le terme runtime error était collé sur moi, puis je réussissais pas jamais à rattraper l'erreur informatique dans mes programmes. Et là, on parle de loin parce que c'était le langage Pascal qui était utilisé.
Right.
Donc, oui, je suis pas mal plus vieille que toi.
Ben non, 2-3 ans peut-être.
En quelle année que tu as quitté les Forces armées canadiennes?
94.
Ah, OK. Donc, pas trop longtemps après, j'imagine, sous le programme des réductions des forces.
C'est bien ça.
Oui, comme plusieurs. Oui, là, on était plusieurs à quitter le programme à ce moment-là.
Ouais.
So we started by saying what's happened some 37 years later. What did you do after you left the forces?
After I left the forces, I got a job with some large high-tech firms in Ottawa. And I think they saw me coming. You know, here's this young guy, this young 24-year-old who had all this military training from a leadership perspective, and also had a computer science degree. And so they were offering all kinds of jobs at the time. And I worked for a large company that was headquartered out of Montreal, but had satellite offices in Ottawa, Toronto, Vancouver, and I think Calgary as well, called DMR Group.
Okay.
I programmed computers for them for a year. I then switched companies, programmed computers for them for a year, and then I started my own company when I was 26.
Wow.
Because, you know, and I think one of the greatest things, the greatest things that the military did for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that would suggest that, is they give you a certain belief in yourself, a certain level of confidence that you can branch out and do things on your own, you know, because at 26, deciding to branch out and start your own company is a little bit bold, brazen even perhaps. And I think I can thank the challenges and the way that they presented challenges to us through boot camp, through CMR, through the military system, and helped us grow through them. I think that gave me that confidence to jump out and start.
Great. And so is your company still up and running from a computer world?
Oh, no. So in reality, the intense years of the 90s, so we have to go back. That's the .com. We used to call it .com, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mid to late 90s was the .com. The early 2000s was the .com bust. And so I was kind of riding that wave of the .com in the late 90s, where you could work as much as you wanted to work. You could work 100-hour weeks, you could work 200-hour weeks, you could work whatever you wanted, right? And there was somebody willing to give you a job, give you money, and make you otherwise useful. I loved it. It was wonderful. And so for the first 6 years of my company, I was just living that kind of, you know, corporate dream almost. But then the dream kind of fell a bit flat because I had a contract at a company that used to be called Newbridge Networks. And I was 32 at the time and loving it. I mean, I was working long hours, but you didn't feel it because you loved it, right? You didn't
Mm-hmm.
mind it. You didn't mind not having a personal life because you were actually kind of getting a lot of joy out of the rest of life. But one of the vice presidents of the company passed away.
Oh.
And he passed away with a wife and 3 children that he never ever saw because he was living the same kind of life I was living. He was enjoying this work dynamic where you're flying in a jet around the world all the time and you're solving problems here and solving problems there. And it kind of shook me up a bit, actually. I thought, you know what, that could be me. There's nothing saying that the luck of the draw isn't coming and I might be the next person to otherwise succumb. So I kind of scaled back everything. I took a year off, did some of my own little projects. And then when I went back to the corporate world, I scaled back my company big time. I stopped having employees and I stopped having subcontractors, made it so it was just myself. And I changed my work schedule so that I had a lot less work time and a lot more personal time.
Wow, healthy thinking at a young age. Good for you. Good for you.
Again, luck. It wasn't any forward thinking on my part. Really, it was more like reaction to what was happening around me. So from about 2002, which is when this all happened, from 2002 until about 2014, I had a very low work profile, which worked for me. It sustained a lifestyle while giving me a lot of time to kind of enjoy life. And then when I moved here to the farm, I pretty much haven't worked since.
Mais là, c'est pas vrai. Tu travailles différemment. Parce
Ouais,
que quand...
ça c'est vrai, mais ça, c'est à cause de COVID. Ça, c'est à cause de COVID.
Oui, mais quand même, parce que moi, j'ai le loisir de te suivre sur Facebook.
Okay.
Et on voit que tu fais différentes choses. Tu es impliqué dans ta communauté. Tu es rendu spécialiste du café. Tu es un photographe absolument phénoménal. Les photos nous emmènent à découvrir des paysages et le ciel de façon extraordinaire. Donc, I'm guessing that your interests and hobbies are surrounded around Mother Nature.
Well, you've probably heard of people who buy a B&B, let's say, or who run a B&B. And then there's an expression that say that it's not a business, but it's a lifestyle.
Right.
And I think that episode that happened in 2002 changed my approach to living so that I'm a lifestyle guy. And since then, everything's been styled around lifestyle. And so, yes, you're quite right. I am active out here in the community, and I participate in a grand number of things. Many of them came into my circle thanks to COVID, because there were all these businesses that were struggling in the area, and they could not find people who wanted to work. And so they called upon us old guys and said, "Hey, would you like to write articles for the newspaper? Would you like to serve coffee? Would you like to learn how to roast coffee?" And those all came into my world, all thanks to COVID. So in many ways, I'm actually quite grateful for it.
Excellent. No, and it's true. La période COVID nous a emmené des situations pas très agréables, mais il y a aussi des success stories qui ont sorti de la période COVID. Puis à t'écouter, je crois que tu en es un de ces gagnants, ou quelqu'un qui a travaillé fort s'est mis disponible pour prendre la relève puis offrir la suite des choses à des entreprises locales. Puis ça, c'est extraordinaire. I can see is that the mummy or the father that's sitting on your lap?
This is the mother, Cherie. And so she's looking forward to tomorrow, because tomorrow all 6 puppies go to their new home.
Oh.
Although I'm sure she doesn't really know that, but I know that. So I'm kind of looking forward.
A little bit less sleepless nights?
Yeah, a little bit less, yeah. It's not so much the sleepless nights, it's the chaos during the day, the noise that you hear, which is somewhat constant, and just the activities that have to surround cleaning up after puppies.
Yes. It is quite the adventure. And this is your second litter of puppies.
It is, yes. Thank you for saying so. Yeah, Cherie had 1 litter. They weren't supposed to have a second litter this year. I tried and failed miserably at trying to prevent conception between the 2 parents. And in my failure, 6 puppies came in the end of November. But they've actually been delightful. But now I'm going to follow the rules more strictly and apply a chastity belt to her and see if that can keep things quiet for at least a year anyways.
Tu vois, Glenn, moi, ma belle-mère m'a toujours dit que l'amour est plus fort que la police. Puis moi... Alors, je te souhaite la meilleure des chances avec le contrôle de la passion de petites bêtes à 4 pattes. I have full confidence, but Mother Nature is Mother Nature.
Thank you. I hope your grandmother's wrong.
Dislikes or concerns with today's world? Or past, present?
Oh, wow. Interesting. I guess my dislike would be this propensity that we seem to have to focus on negative. You know, I find myself turning off the news more often than anything these days because the news is almost completely this drain of energy. And I'm kind of an energy guy. I like to smile and I like to laugh and I like to see the glass is half full, not half empty. And the news isn't that. So I guess that would be a dislike for now.
Okay.
I love the fact that the world is so full of opportunity right now. And again, my own experience in this last couple of years kind of helps strike that home for me. You know, I've moved to the country largely to simplify life and to slow down and to try and be a part of something, a community, as you said earlier. And community is beautiful. It's just gorgeous. You know, people are good. There's wonderful, wonderful dynamics out here. There's wonderful goodwill. It's just beautiful, and it's so rewarding to be a part of it, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of it actually, and to be able to give back to it too. You know, to be in a position where I can actually contribute to that community, not just ride the wave and enjoy it.
Excellent, excellent. So, ta plus grande qualité, your best quality? Don't be shy.
Thank you. I think it's probably resilience. You know, I think, and again, if I go back to the formative years, you know, here I was, let's go back to when I first applied to go to CMR, right? I was 16 years old, like most of us were. You know, we were young, gosh, 16 years old. And, you know, you applied to college. And at the time, I was living in Northern Alberta. You know, I was in a family that was very, very low income. I had no hopes of university education. And all of a sudden, there was this university education that came out and said, hey, if you come and work for us for a couple of years, we'll give you an education, we'll give you a job. But the part of that I didn't really get was that they would make me a better person. You know, they would introduce qualities into my persona that I don't think that I would have developed otherwise. And I think resilience is one of them. I think there is an effect when you are pushed hard by an organization to do better. And when you fail, they don't throw you to the curb. You know, they help you get back up and try again. And I think that's important. And I would say that is a skill that has stood me in good stead for the rest of my years anyways.
Excellent. Et ton petit défaut?
I suspect that I can still be judgmental.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can still be a little bit hard on people than when they deserve a little bit more compassion.
Ah, ben, félicitations pour ton honnêteté parce que c'est pas simple d'admettre ça qu'on est dur avec le monde. C'est très intéressant. Tantôt, tu as parlé de communauté et comment tu es heureux de redonner à ta communauté. La communauté militaire, est-ce que tu as encore beaucoup de contacts avec les gens avec qui tu es passé au collège ou avec qui tu as servi dans les forces armées canadiennes?
Moi, je dirais pas beaucoup, mais un peu. Facebook is wonderful for that, as we all know. I'm sure I'm not the only person who says, "Wow, Facebook just brings you the whole squad right back into your living room, where you can see what they're doing, sharing their successes, sharing their family adventures, etc." The reunions are wonderful. The ex-cadet reunions that we have at the college, they have been just fantastic for that. You know, you gather around in the same place where you spent those formative years, staring at the same monuments, the same buildings, the same parade square, and it reignites parts of you that you may have forgotten about, kind of thing. So, ex-cadet weekends are wonderful. We've had a couple of reunions out here north of Quebec at different people's homes that have been beautiful, and the rest is all through Facebook and email, I guess.
Ah, c'est extraordinaire. Oui, effectivement, Facebook nous a permis de rejoindre des gens plus loin. Puis je dirais que la formule qu'on utilise pour faire cette entrevue nous permet d'être chacun assis chez soi et partager un moment privilégié ensemble pour connecter et de partager, informer les gens où sommes-nous, où est-ce qu'on est rendu, nous les anciens, dans notre vie. Alors, je trouve ça phénoménal. Your second language is very good, by the way, Glenn. Don't ever hesitate to use it.
Merci beaucoup, c'est gentil. Je n'en parle pas souvent, hein? Même si je reste au Québec, je n'en parle pas souvent.
Mais tu as presque pas d'accent non plus quand tu parles en français. Donc, n'hésite pas sois surtout pas gêné de parler en français. C'est vraiment plaisant.
Merci.
Alors, on arrive presque à la fin de notre rencontre aujourd'hui. Ta vie d'aujourd'hui, est-ce qu'elle est ce que tu pensais qu'elle était pour être à l'âge de 16 ans quand tu as commencé l'aventure ou que tu as joint la grande communauté des anciens et anciennes? Euh, alors, est-ce que c'est ce que tu imaginais?
Pas du tout. It's interesting. I should have, when you asked me if I have flaws, I only gave you one. I have several. And one of them is I'm terrible at looking forward. And I always have been. If you ask me today what I'm going to do tomorrow, I have a hard time even knowing what I'm going to do tomorrow. So asking me at 16 what I might look like at 53 is quite a jump. I don't think I envisioned being on a farm. I think I probably envisioned still being somewhat involved in a career of some sort. I don't know what the military would have been, though. I didn't join the military because I had these grand aspirations to have a career in the military. I joined the military largely because it was a wonderful opportunity for me as a young man to get an education, to get some formation, and to get out of an economic situation that was otherwise not going to lead me anywhere useful, right? And what a gift the military was for me from that. So I never really had a view of a military career, and I don't think I really had a business desire either. I don't think I'm a corporate kind of guy. I don't think that I'm a boardroom. I'm going to get to the top of that ladder and I'm going to, be that. So I guess outside of that, I didn't envision any of this, but I can't say that it's not where I don't want to be.
Excellent. Donc, on peut conclure que Glen est une personne qui vit le moment présent. Tu savoures le quotidien. Tu es généreux et le succès d'un homme d'affaires aujourd'hui par toi-même, tu es un travailleur autonome. You're an independent, self-sufficient individual who's ensuring his continuation as an entrepreneur of some sorts because you're a dog breeder, you're a coffee roaster, you're a man of many trades. So I think that pretty well sums up who you are today, even if it wasn't who you thought you would be.
That's fair. I accept that totally. Thank you, Carolyn.
Great.
I might print that and put that on a wall somewhere.
Ben, on va te donner l'enregistrement comme ça, mais don't include les fautes d'orthographe. C'est pas une bonne idée.
No,
alors, merci beaucoup, Glen, pour avoir accordé ce temps précieux avec nous cet après-midi. Tu as partagé tes aventures, ton cheminement. Ça va donner la chance à nos anciens et anciennes de reconnecter différemment, savoir pour la nouvelle génération qui nous suit que le début à 16 ans peut nous emmener n'importe où avec une formation, notre personnalité, notre détermination et comme tu as si bien dit, your resilience has brought you where you are today. You built on it, you created something. So it's a nice example to the next generation and for us to reminisce and say, hey, I went to the military college with him and I was pretty lucky to know him.
Wonderful.
Merci beaucoup.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this.
Great. Well, take care of those little puppies and à très bientôt.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Alors, ce réseautage est un outil précieux pour nous tous. Et vous avez vu avec le cheminement de Glen que tout est possible. Alors, on s'entraide de près et de loin. Un lien d'amitié professionnelle pendant plusieurs années. So see you all very soon to find out where another ex-cadet is at today in 2024. Merci, bonne journée.